Leave it to Josephine Baker to draw a cheering crowd in Paris, decades after her death. The arrival of Baker's flag-draped ceremonial coffin on November 30th, 2021, marked the historic induction of the St. Louis native into the Pantheon, France's tomb of heroes. The posthumous honor is the highest France bestows to recognize the life and legacy of its most revered citizens. Baker became a French citizen after she married one in 1937. French television broadcasted the event around the world. It was the culmination of a years-long campaign to win Josephine Baker the designation. She rose to fame there as a trailblazing entertainer in the 1920s. But Baker was also a decorated war hero who fought in the French resistance during World War II and was an activist for civil rights in the land of her birth. A petition drive to honor Baker in this way was launched in the summer of 2021, and it gathered some 40,000 signatures of supportive French citizens. That drew the attention of President Emmanuel Macron. In August, he announced Baker would enter the famed mausoleum, and thus she became the first black woman to be inducted. At the Pantheon ceremony, President Macron praised Baker and her achievements.
That is Josephine, one who fought for France's freedom, without ulterior motives, without seeking greater glory, one devoted to our ideals.
All of this did not go unnoticed in St. Louis, where a more modest program honoring Baker was presented at the Missouri History Museum the same day.
Josephine Baker, Josephine Baker.
Speakers included the French Consulate General for the Midwest, Yannick Tagan.
Today, France distinguishes an exceptional personality, born American, who chose to become French and to set her struggle for freedom and justice within the context of France's fight for the humanist and universal principles which are at the core of my country's identity. Josephine Baker's personal history is remarkable, is exemplary. It shows us what a human being can achieve through willingness and determination to ensure its own emancipation and to offer it as a model to the others and to the world.
The Consulate General was referring in part to the poverty, suffering, and racism Baker endured in the early 20th century before she fled St. Louis with a vaudeville troupe in search of a better life. She witnessed firsthand black residents of East St. Louis, Illinois, fleeing the violence of white mobs during the infamous 1917 riots. Cecily Hunter is public historian for the museum's African American History Initiative.
It was those experiences here in St. Louis that really made Josephine Baker who she was and cultivated her as an individual to continue to push those boundaries further and pursue what she felt was the career that she had. But she had so many layers to her. So it's important not to just think about her as an entertainer because she was so much more than that.
At the request of her family, Josephine Baker's remains are still in Monaco, where she was buried after her death in 1975. Inside the Pantheon coffin are handfuls of soil from the places Baker lived over the course of her life, including her hometown. And where, you might ask, did the St. Louis soil come from? According to a spokesperson for Mayor Chishara Jones,